Hello all and welcome into WHF Round 2, Tier 2. You're joined by me, WHFR, for the action this evening. As we will have short qualifying followed by 33 laps around the Spanish circuit here in Catalonia, Barcelona. So welcome one and all in to the second round of the season, as we'll go on board with the SSR Zampa, who had pole last time out in Australia. Can Zampa emulate that pole lap from last time? Zampa at the end of the Australian Grand Prix would end up finishing P3, but can Zampa go better in this one? We will certainly see. But welcome one and all into the stream. Hope you're doing well on this lovely Saturday evening. Hemi Dames in the chat says big up the Scuderia, and if anything, if last race is anything to go by, Scuderia Ferrari could be within a chance of winning the Constructors here in Tier 2. Two very strong performances from Ty and Stephen Beecham. Even with Ty's unfortunate end on lap 27, still very good performances for from Ferraris as Zampa does a 12.8. Also, I think we maybe have someone joining the lobby here, if I can find them. Stephen Beecham goes quicker by 200ths over Zampa. Last time out in qualifying, Zampa, Stephen Beecham and Ty Clear were all very close in qualifying. As we do have Thackeray in joining. And Scones up to P4. Last time out, Scones got P8 in the Australian Grand Prix. As Dobo up to P5. And we did see D. Sommers jump to P5 as well there. And we do have the V-Carb of Sci-Fi potentially starting a lap, as Cree definitely starting a lap. And Cree also has Crimson for company. I'm not sure if Crimson's aware that Cree is on a lap, so unfortunately may have to back out of this lap. Unfortunately, Cree's connections still seems to be a bit spotty. Try and see if I wonder if Cree's got all his settings correct. Anywho, yellow flag out for Cree as he's navigating his way through. TJ up to P5 as well. And a very competitive field here so far, as Crimson will be the next driver around, but maybe a slow lap due to his lap essentially being a bit blocked by the V-Carb of Cree. But maybe Crimson will go again here on another lap, we'll certainly see. As Hemi Dame says, I'm cooked tomorrow. Well, honestly, I haven't did a whole lot of practice on Japan. It's never been that good of a circuit for me. Last game it was probably my best, well, not my best, but one of my better circuits. Qatar is going to be forever and always probably be my best circuit. But Japan, I was actually pretty good at last season. And then they've now laser scanned it, so the track's different, so I need to get used to the new track. As Lime's gone quickest by 1,000th. 1,000 separates Lime and Stephen Beecham. That just shows you how close we are at the front of the field here. Hilariously, as Infrajack now on a lap in the Red Bull. Infrajack had a lot of issues last time out. Hopefully Infrajack can have those issues sorted out in this one. As Hemi Dames says, his best games on this track are Jeddah and Monza. Two very different tracks, I must say. As we do see... Who's that in the traffic? I'm not quite sure. Possibly the Williams of Zampa trying to get out of the way of some cars. As we do have Gunner on in-lap, it seems. Scones on a flyer, not going much quicker though. So, although Infrajack doesn't seem to be going much quicker either. Lime on an in-lap. Wonder, can Infrajack improve here? Doesn't seem likely, as Crimson getting under the way of some people. And safe out there. I think Zampa should be the next driver to start a lap. Venom says the thing is that I found more pace on... I've been able to find more pace on some tracks. Oh, Zampa's got a big spin too heavily onto that inside curb at turn 3. And Zampa spinning around, get out of my way. This is sort of Zampa getting his weekly spin out of the way. Hopefully he has no more for the remainder of the weekend. That would be preferable. We'll have to certainly see. Sci-Fi coming in, but Dobo on a flyer now. Dobo currently sitting P11. Last season, I do believe Dobo was P4 in the championship, so we're yet to see some action from Dobo this season. Dobo missed the first round of the season, but is here now for the second, and maybe there could be potential for a good result here from Dobo. We're yet to see his pace on this game. So maybe Dobo has something serious in the bag, we'll have to see. Definitely a very consistent driver here. And Dobo now up to the line, and P5 he goes. And Dobo's always been there or thereabouts in Tier 2. Stephen Beecham out on a flyer. Last time out P2 for Stephen Beecham. And can he go one better in this race? It would be a first win in WHF for Stephen Beecham, if he can find the pace. And Stephen Beecham now up to the line, goes quickest. On provisional pole is the Ferrari with a 12.7. Meanwhile, Ty Clear also in the Ferrari looking for his first win as well. Yet to see his first podium is Ty Clear in WHF. And we are hopefully going to see that today as he hops over the inside curb at the penultimate corner. And Ty Clear now round the final corner. Where can he go as he's up to the line? Ty improves, just half a tenth shy of his teammate, but currently it's a Ferrari 1-2. And Ferrari looking very, very comfortable and strong in this championship. Meanwhile, TJ seems to have some wing damage on that Mercedes, so potentially damage. Meanwhile, D. Summers and the Williams around. Currently his teammate up in P4. D. Summers down in P10, but with this lap currently 4/10 out of Sector 2. Where can D. Summers go as he rounds the final corner? Can it be a big improvement for the Williams as the rear steps out as he rounds the final corner and up to P5, and just behind his teammate is D. Summers in the Williams. And Williams, another formidable team that could potentially be in for the championship here, along with the team of Aston Martin with Lime and Scones. And yet to see what Dub Z can do this game. And Crimson, a newcomer to the league. We've seen him in some of the social races, had some good pace. But will Crimson have good pace in this championship? We will certainly see. His first qualifying here in WHF today. Currently sitting P9. Meanwhile, we follow Cree. He's still out there on the mediums, not quite sure why. But we're going to keep an eye on Creekree's connection. Is it stable or not? Because having some issues with that last round, and hopefully this round some of the issues were fixed. As he exited the box the first time, it looked like he was still lagging a lot, but on the second time exiting the box, it does seem a lot better. Not seeing his car jump around as much. And I can't blame him for having a bad connection, because Arn and Creekree both from Mexico, and very far away from the host, which is myself, who lives in Ireland, so I can't really blame them for having a spotty connection. Oh, as Creekree gets onto the grass. So, where can Creekree go in his first banker? Probably not the best lap, because he did make that mistake through turn 12. But maybe Creekree can go quicker next time around. Scones now around the final corner in the Aston Martin. Where can Scones go as he crosses the line? 3/10 improvement there for Scones up to P5. That's a good improvement there for the Aston Martin driver. As Crimson now starting a lap, I believe, or maybe just finished one. We'll have to see. As he chucks it into turn 1. Seems to be on the limit. So this McLaren now on a run around. As Scones dives out of the way for the McLaren. But some traffic, Crimson does seem to be approaching, as he's 2/10 of the good out of Sector 1. That's a good improvement for Crimson. If he keeps incrementally getting 2/10 here and there, he could get very close to the top, but is some traffic he has to navigate. He's got a Red Bull ahead of him, who may potentially be on a lap. It is actually Dobo on an out lap, so maybe Dobo is going to get out of his way, and Dobo does get out of his way, so Crimson still on a flyer here. Thankfully, everyone out of his way. And Crimson now only a 10th, must have lost some time through the middle sector, trying to navigate that traffic. And now the McLaren gonna have to try and grab more than a 10th if he does want to improve on position here. As TJ over a 10th ahead of the McLaren driver. And Crimson now round the final corner. DRS engaged up to the line, and Crimson does improve by 3/10 and up to P6. Good improvement there for Crimson. And if you look at the top of their field, it is a very, very close pack. Everyone inside the top 11. Inside 1 second is Lanky yet to set a lap along with Dubsy. Dubsy just started a lap, as Dubsy loves to leave his attempts late or not at all in some instances. But we'll go on board with Dub for his... Oh, Dub's invalid, so may have to ease off a bit and then go out now. Meanwhile, Lanky will exit the box now. Lanky, who was eating his dinner, now will only get one real attempt at a lap here. Meanwhile, we've got Stephen Beecham on a lap. Well, he's 1/10 down. Probably should come into the box. Or he's going to stay out. I don't believe there's an improvement coming yet. 2/10s down, and I don't think he's got enough time to get in and get extra fuel on. So that may be Stephen Beecham's final attempt here, as TJ moved up to P5. That's a good improvement there for the Mercedes. But very close we are at the top here, as Dobo now rounding the final corner. Can Dobo improve here in the Red Bull? As currently sitting P9, Dobo up to the line, doesn't improve. Very close to improving there, but no cigar. But 2.5 minutes left in the session, and still a lot of drivers here to set laps, and Zampa's invalid, so we'll have to crawl around, try and save fuel on this lap to try and make sure that he has enough fuel to go for his final run. But we're very close to the top there. Pole could go any way, to be honest. We'll follow one of the favourites for pole, and that is Ty Clear in the Ferrari. Potentially had his first win last time out in Australia, but in lap 27 he would lose the car because of the dirty air. But now can this be his redemption here in Spain? Can he get pole here and convert? We will certainly see from the Ferrari. As Infrajack's retired at the final corner, and maybe into the pit lane was Infrajack. We'll try and see with Dobo. Can't quite see where Infrajack is. Meanwhile, we'll go back to Ty Clear. And on this flying lap, where can Ty go? As D. Summers retires in the pit lane. Unable to improve on that P8. Dobo retired in P9. As Ty Clear now rounding the final corner. Where can Ty go as he keeps it flat to the floor? Round the final corner. Massive, impressive exit. Crosses the line, but 2/10 down is Ty and does not improve. Meanwhile, Zampa will start his final lap here. Lime also starting his final lap. Stephen Beecham's missed the opportunity to improve here. So Stephen will not get another attempt on the board. Who else is close to finishing a lap? We've got Gunner close to finishing a lap. I think Lanky up to P10. Meanwhile, we've got Gunner next, aka Daddy Chill, and up to the line he goes, P9. Meanwhile, we've got Ty Clear, potentially on another lap, actually gets out of the way for Zampa. Zampa last time out got pole in Australia. Can Zampa emulate that again? Needs a 10th and a half to try and get ahead of Stephen Beecham, but there may be other drivers with the likes of Lime and TJ improving here. We'll have to see. But can Zampa get another pole here in Spain, as he's actually a 10th to the good? He just needs to have a solid final sector here, and then Williams could potentially have pole again here, as he gets a lovely exit at turn 10, but has a big snap, which may have lost him some time there. He got good rotation on entry, but on exit lost the traction, and he spins it across the line. No improvement there for Zampa. Lime invalid, as Ty Clear not improving. TJ retires, as I think that might be everyone's lap. We've got Lanky around, but I don't believe he's improving, as Lanky up to the line. It does not improve. Dub Z not improving here. And that will be your qualifying. Stephen Beecham on pole in the Ferrari, just ahead of Lime, who's 5 thousandths ahead of Ty Clear. But what we missed was Scones up to P4. What a lap from Scones. 2 thousandths ahead of Zampa. Look how close we are at the top of the field. Everyone's so close together. And what a lap there from Scones. His best qualifying performance in WHF since Baku last season. If Scones gets a podium, I may do things that may get me cancelled. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. But anyway, Scones up in a P4. Absolute scenes. If Scones ever wins, I'm going to do some things that will definitely get us banned from Twitch and TikTok. I will do unrecoverable damage to the entire league if Scones pulls out a victory. But anyway, what a
hello there.
Thank you, Crimson, for the follow in the chat. But there you have it, Stephen Beecham on pole, half a tenth to Lime and Ty Clear. So close is the field here, and impressive performance there from Stephen Beecham. His first pole position here in WHF, ahead of Lime, who won last time out. As Lanky says, as Crimson says, went out way too early. And Sci-Fi Mega says, Scones, please don't win. Sci-Fi likes us being on air. He doesn't want to see us getting taken off the air. As hopefully no one readies up too early. I'll tell the drivers when to ready. Hopefully no one presses that button too early. Although I'm a bit worried because we do have some newcomers, and normally when there is newcomers, there's always the risk of someone readying up early. But hopefully everyone... oh, damn! Thank you for the 500 bits, Dub Z. That is the biggest donation I have seen on Twitch, to be honest. I have not seen... That is a humongous amount. Thank you, Dub. Dub, who is having his first race of the season here in the McLaren. And we always wish for a Dub masterclass. Dub loves that Driver of the Day trophy. And we actually will be recording the Driver of the Days this season, so maybe we will hand out a Driver of the Day trophy, which I'm sure Dub will be vying for. But thank you, Dub, for the 500 bits. Always an absolute G is Dub. And if Dub ever wins, I'm guaranteeing that we get banned on every single social media platform, and even the Discord's gonna get nuked if Dub wins, because I'm gonna be doing that things that are that cancelable. That, you know. Anyway, welcome one and all to the stream. Hope you're all doing well on this Saturday evening. We're here in Spain, following a Stephen Beecham pole. As Dubsy says, we won't have to ever worry about that. But we will be here for 33 laps around the Spanish circuit here in Catalonia, and this is going to be an exciting race. Will we see a new winner this season? Currently Lime, the only winner this season, and I believe the only winner in the field that has a win in WHF, point blank period. I think everyone else who is in the lobby is yet to get a win. So hopefully we get a new winner on the cars. You'd love to see it. But the drivers should now be readying up, and we should soon have the 5 red lights on for 33 laps around the Spanish circuit. Seems to be a sunny evening. I haven't heard any news of any wet weather on the way. Last season in Spain in Tier 2, it was one of the most dramatic races you'll ever watch. I believe Michael Louis pulled out the victory after Codzilla with a masterful performance. But unfortunately picked up a time penalty that would hand the win to Michael Louis. And I wonder, will we see any of that carnage, as we will have the 5 red lights on here in Spain. And they're out as Stephen Beecham leads the field away down into turn 1. It's a brilliant start for Stephen Beecham from pole, as Ty Clear now on the outside of Lime. D. Somers unfortunately is a lag down to Scones up into P2. Scones with a brilliant start, and Lime gets through here. And Scones with a masterful start into P3. You love to see it as Zampa. What has happened, Zampa? As Lime's around, Lime with a spin. Lime down into P9 as Zampa. What's happened, Zampa? Did he even leave the... Oh, and Lime over to the wall! Lime into the wall. What has happened, Lime? Lime down to P15 as Zampa. Zampa's had big issues as well here. The Williams have both had massive issues. Stephen Beecham already 2 seconds in the lead now as Ty Clear washes onto the curb. Allows TJ in the Mercedes reserving today down the inside. TJ potentially on for a podium, as well as Crimson making his debut today. And Ty Clear goes side by side with the McLaren. Utter carnage up the start here as Lime around again here on the first lap here. Lime, who won last time out, has had a horrific start as we start lap 2. I'm going to try and get D. Somers back in again, but D. Somers has been treated so badly by this game. At no point do they allow him to actually just play the bloody game. They keep kicking him, and it isn't even his connections the issue. It is an EA issue. Not quite sure why it keeps happening. As we've gotten D. Somers back in. Have we missed anything? Don't believe so. As Ty Clear still follows along Crimson. But not quite sure what has happened. Lime and Zampa here. Lime into the wall. How has he not got damage on that front wing? He absolutely crunched the front wing as Infrajack now on the outside of Daddy Chill side by side. They go on a big contact between the Sauber and the Red Bull. And the Sauber, unfortunately, went too deep. And F1 Lime has left the session. I'll try and see if I can get F1 Lime back in. We've got D. Somers back in the lobby, thankfully. But Lime having a nightmare here today. As we'll try and find his EA. Where the hell is it? There we are. Anyway, back to the action, and Ty Clear's got ahead of Crimson. Down into turn 1, unfortunately missed it as Dobo gets ahead of his teammate of Infrajack. And Dobo up into P6. But unfortunately we're missing some of the action because so many connection issues here. as Crimson on the rear of Ty Clear. Yes, Kevin, this is either a medium hard or a soft medium soft / soft medium medium. Not quite sure which one. Dubz's left the session. What is going on with EA today? What is happening? So many people with connection issues. I can't believe what I'm seeing here. Dubz out of the session as well. I know we do have a lot of drivers from all over the place. We've got a lot of British drivers. Crimson, I think it must be British. Fakri on his debut here, the Algerian. We've got Sci-Fi Mega Hype, the South African. Dubz the Canadian. Cree the Mexican. D Summers. And Lime, as well as Ty Clear and TJ battle into turn 1. And I was too busy chatting about nations and we missed Ty Clear make another beautiful move as Daddy Chill gets ahead of Cree. Well, Kevin, on this game, you never know with the tyre wear. With the tyre wear, it could be a 2-stop. We'll have to see what is the quickest strategy as Lanky gets through on Sci-Fi Mega Hype. And I am missing all of the moves at the start of this one. I'll try and keep an eye on the action as Scones in the Aston Martin on medium tyres, need I remind you, almost has DRS from Stephen Beecham. Is this going to be a one-stop? I'm not quite sure. But Scones may soon have DRS from Stephen Beecham. No one panic. No one panic. I'm not panicking. You're the one that's panicking, not me. And Scones now in DRS from Stephen Beecham in P2 here. And could the Aston Martin start to catch the Ferrari of Stephen Beecham? We've also got Ty Clear waiting in the wings as well, yet to get his first podium in WHF. Could this be the race where he does it? Meanwhile, Scones also awaiting his first podium in WHF. As I believe we do have D Summers back in the race along with Dubz, yet to have Lime back in again. And now we have TJ on the rear of Ty Clear. Can TJ start to catch Ty Clear? Ty Clear may start to catch Scones as well, as they all Constantina up behind the soft runner of Stephen Beecham. But Scones now with DRS looking to catch Stephen Beecham. And can Scones find a way ahead of Stephen as Lime needs another invite? And we're going to try and be as quick as possible so we don't miss anything. God, I've got to clear this list of people out desperately. There's so many people. Anyway, Scones now around the final corner, washes a bit wide, may have picked up a warning there. Trying to stay with Stephen Beecham, and Stephen Beecham on the inside now, managing the battery. Can Scones potentially go for a late move down at turn 1? Lifts off. Doesn't want to go for anything too risky. And Ty Clear now may have joined the battle, as Ty now with DRS on both of them as Infrajack gets back ahead of Dobo side by side. Go the Red Bulls into turn 1 and 2. As Lanky gets ahead of Fakri. And Scones now on the rear of Stephen Beecham, trying to find a way through. And we're very close up at the top here. Stephen Beecham, Scones, Ty Clear and TJ all here. As Dobo and Infrajack still battling through Sector 1. Dobo looking for the switchback on his teammate. And the Red Bulls really not working together in this one. They are battling for position ferociously. And we're not seeing a lot of Red Bull teammate play. And we rarely have since 2021. It's been a while since we've seen the Red Bulls work together. It's rare to even see the Red Bulls side by side on track. That is... Surely this is AI. Red Bulls are never beside each other on track. That just doesn't happen. Maybe when Max is lapping his teammate. But other than that, it just doesn't happen. You know, Scones around the final corner now. And DRS engaged on the rear of Stephen Beecham, but Ty Clear closing to the rear of Scones. And can Scones find a way around the outside of Stephen Beecham as he brakes earlier? Ty Clear has to have a look on the inside as Scones trying to find a way through, and Stephen but can't find a way through as we've Dobo trying to get close as well, but we're so close up at the top, and Ty gets through on Scones on the inside. I am missing so many overtakes in this one, it's not even funny, as Scones now back on the rear of Ty Clear, and Ty with a lovely move through turn 3 that we didn't even see happening as Ty washes wide, gets a tire on the grass, exiting turn 4. Scones looking for a way through on Ty. As Dobo still trying to get through on Infojack here. Ledgeman in the chat, who missed the race unfortunately, says, what is this order? As this is not the ascending order that Ledgeman was seeing. Unfortunately, a couple of drivers with disconnects and just lap 1 carnage. As I do believe... Lime's still not in again. We'll try and get Lime back in again. As, what is... Maybe it's this one. Hopefully we've not missed anything. As Dubsy gets ahead of Fakri, TJ on the rear of Stephen Beecham. Scones almost losing. What, DRS to Ty Clear? What happened? What do we miss now? Oh dear lord. Inviting Lime, and we've missed Ty Clear take the lead of the race. The Ferraris have swapped positions as we were inviting Lime back. And I've no idea how that has happened, but either way, Ty Clear now into the lead of the race here on lap 8, and we have missed so many overtakes. I can only apologise to everyone watching. The highlights of this race are going to be non-existent because I've missed every single overtake as Lime has joined and it immediately kicked him. We're going to have to try and get it back in again as TJ on the rear of Stephen Beecham, who seems to be struggling on these soft tyres now, and TJ now round the outside of the soft runner. As Lime back in again now. Hopefully Lime can finally get control of his car. As Stephen Beecham dives into the pit lane. Oh, almost washes out wide into the wall. Crimson going to stay out. Wonder, does he have DRS as Scones on the rear? Ty Clear does have DRS from Ty. Can Scones stay with Ty here? Battling for the lead of the race. They both pulled this 2-second gap to TJ. As a lot of the pit stops happening now. Stephen Beecham on the mediums. He may be doing a 2-stop, is Stephen. We've also got Fakri and D Summers into the pit lane as well. Unfortunately, D Summers had a lap 1 lag out. Zampa had a lap 1 contact with the wall. Lime finally back in again. Had a contact with the wall on lap 1 and also lagged out as well. So a couple drivers struggling with connection here. Meanwhile, the Red Bulls battle again. Dobo and Infojack, absolutely ferocious battling here. Meanwhile, Scones following Ty Clear here on lap 9. And where can Scones try and get ahead of the Ferrari? Does Scones have the pace to find to get ahead of Ty here? And when will everyone box is the question. Will this be a medium hard or will it be a 2-stop? We've seen Stephen Beecham possibly coming in for the 2-stop along with Fakri as well. D Summers may try hards to the end, but that's a bit of a stint. It may be just a 2-stop with the hards, as Crimson now in off the softs as Infojack comes in for Red Bull, and Scones still heading after the Ferrari of Ty Clear. As we have got a swap for positions, Fakri gets out of Stephen Beecham. As Scones now on the rear of Ty Clear. But has he lost DRS there? Drop back a bit, but does he have it? He still has it open. Scones needs to burn some of the battery to try and stay with the Ferrari. But is he struggling in the dirty air of this Ferrari ahead? Trying to stay composed is Scones. And he's doing very well here. Scones yet to have a podium in WHF. This could be a podium on the cards for Scones as he just about keeps DRS from the Ferrari. But he may lose it for the following lap. He didn't get the best of exits out of the final corner. Meanwhile, Ty also yet to get a podium along with TJ as well. Currently, everyone inside the podium is yet to get a WHF podium. So, could be an exciting podium here, with everyone there getting their first podiums. Scones still keeping in DRS ranges. We've got TJ around. TJ around to turn 3. And as we just mentioned, the possibility of a podium for TJ. He's lost the car and now may have dropped back to the likes of Dobo and the Lanky as well. Lanky also has caught up. Are these drivers all trying the one stop? We'll see. They'll go to around lap 15 onwards, I'd say, before coming in for hard tyres. I think Scones got another bad exit out of turn 9. The DRS is helping him here, but he needs to push to try and stay inside DRS range of Ty Clear. But I think Ty now may have just done enough to pull a gap to the Aston Martin. And as we head through onto lap 12, I think Scones now has lost DRS from the Ferrari. Does he have the pace to stay with Ty? Now that Ty has broke DRS from Scones, how long does everyone who may be trying to one-stop here go? We will see. TJ has pulled the gap to Dobo. Dobo now in off the mediums. He might be two-stopping as well here. And we're unsure what will be quicker, the one-stop or the two-stop. Meanwhile, Scones has firmly lost DRS now to Ty Clear. As Factory on the rear of Infrajack now will have DRS on the Red Bull. And on these soft tyres will actually undercut Dobo as well. But can he get up to the rear of Infrajack? We will certainly see. Also got Stephen Beecham now on the rear of Creekry. Stephen Beecham, who started the race from pole, possibly doing the two-stop, tries to find his way past the Mexican, but may have to settle in behind to try and find his way past the Mexican, as the Mexican's struggling here through the middle sector, and Stephen trying to be cautious, doesn't want to have any contact with the V-carb. Stephen still trying to find a way past the Mexican of Creekry here, as TJ now comes in off those medium tyres, allows Lanky up into P3 and Dub Z up into P4. But after the pit stop phase, where will it all shape out? Is Stephen now going to look to get ahead of Creekry down the main straight? We've also got Crimson joining this battle as well. Crimson with DRS, does he want to try and get ahead of Creekry down into turn 1? Crimson may have a look down the inside, but backs out. Not close enough to make a move on the V-carb as Infrajack getting ahead of TJ, who's exiting the box now, and will exit just behind Dobo, I believe. And TJ has been a bit undercut as Crimson with Creekry side by side they go. A bit of wheel banging between Crimson and Creekry, side by side they go, battling through sector 1 here. And the McLaren on the outside, oh, he skipped round the outside as Crimson just about survived there. Almost looked like both the cars were losing it there, as Scones now 2.5 seconds back from Ty Clear. But Scones still having a very good race. Meanwhile, Dubsy having a terrific race now with DRS to the lanky one on these hard tyres. Dubsy maybe trying to go to lap 20, I'd say, before coming off the hards on to mediums until the end. And we'll see how quick Dubsy has now that he has clear air ahead of the lanky one. We've also got Daddy Chill out there as well, aka Gunner, who has the only time penalty here today, as now we have TJ on the rear of Dobo. Dobo trying to stay on the rear of Factory, as Factory's lost DRS to Infrajack. And can TJ look for a move on Dobo? Still too far behind is TJ. As D. Somers now has exited behind, Lanky's exited just in front of D. Somers. The Lanky definitely doing a two-stop on those soft tyres. But D. Somers trying to recover from his disconnect, and unfortunately it just seems every time he starts a race it just kicks him, which makes no sense to me. EA just do not like D. Somers for some reason. Meanwhile, Dobo on the rear of Factory is we've got a yellow flag around, and it's Scones around, entering the pit lane. And Scones tried to enter the pit lane and hit the pit wall, I believe. Oh, absolute heartbreak for Scones as he comes into the pit lane and is probably his damage on his front wing. Absolute heartbreak for Scones, would have lost a lot of time. Thankfully, he has a front wing waiting for him there as he comes in for the hard tyres, but unfortunately for Scones, that's going to cost him a heap of time. And I can't say, I can't really blame him for hitting the pit wall, because I have done it twice in the past before. So can't really blame him, as TJ now in the rear of Factory trying to find a way through. And TJ now on the inside, down into turn 4, and Mercedes goes on the Algerian driver. And a lovely move from TJ as Factory trying to find a way past. Again, goes deep though into the rear of the Mercedes. A little bit of contact, which may invite the lanky one now onto the rear of the Alpine. We also got Stephen Beecham now on the rear of the Sauber. And we'll have to see where Scones exits. Scones down in P13, but where does he end up after the pit stops? And we'll have to see how much time he lost from that mistake. Daddy Chill unfortunately does not have DRS to defend from this move, and Stephen Beecham going to get straight ahead down into P2 as Ty Clear is exiting the box. He's got a lovely pocket of clear air, has Ty Clear. And Ty now, we'll see his gap between him and Scones. Yeah, Scones has lost so much time because of that crash. Scones was only around 2-3 seconds behind Ty Clear. Now he's around 12 seconds behind. Or no, it's actually 22 seconds behind Ty Clear. He lost almost a pit stop to Ty with that crash. Absolutely heartbreaking for Scones. Meanwhile, now we've got Stephen Beecham now, who has Dubsy in his way. Dubsy yet to box. Will be doing a hard medium. Meanwhile, Stephen Beecham possibly doing a soft medium medium or soft medium soft. We'll have to see what Stephen has in store. But Dubsy now trying to defend from the Ferrari. We've also got Crimson on the rear of Gunner as well. Crimson could be in for a very good finishing position here as well, as Stephen Beecham going to blow right past the McLaren of Dubsy, as Crimson, the other McLaren, gets right past Daddy Chill. And I always feel weird about saying that, I'll be honest, as can Crimson get ahead of Dub now? Will Dub let his teammate through to try and head after Stephen Beecham? We'll see. Dub has always been a very respectable driver. We'll see whether he does give his teammate the same benefit. Last season, Dubsy and Codzilla were Tier 2 Constructor Champions, as Crimson does get ahead of his teammate. Dubsy does let him through to help his teammate out. And Crimson now, who does have the lap fresher tyres than Stephen Beecham, is going to have to try and catch the Ferrari now. 6/10 behind DRS. Meanwhile, Ty Clear also joining this battle. And Ty may be on hards to the end. Just needs to keep it clean to the end and manage those hards as Infrajack picks up a 3-second time penalty. Our second driver to do it in this session. But Ty now with DRS on the cars ahead. Dub trying to hold on to DRS of his teammate, but it may not have the pace left in these hard tyres. Just about has DRS does Dub, and that's going to help him extend a little bit longer, and also maybe help him pull a gap to the Sauber behind. Meanwhile, Ty Clear needs to try and clear this traffic as he is catching the Sauber. But is he close enough to go for a move? I don't believe so. Meanwhile, Crimson seems to have lost a couple tenths to Stephen Beecham. Can Stephen Beecham make his two-stop work? We will certainly see. Meanwhile, Scones gets out of Sci-Fi Mega Hype as Factory comes in potentially for his final stop. As Ty Clear now battling with Daddy Chill. Side by side they go. And Daddy Chill really trying to battle for that position, but Ty gonna back out. Doesn't want to go for anything risky on the Sauber. Oh, and almost into the rear of the Sauber. The Sauber made a bit of a mistake exiting turn 8 there. And Ty, or actually turn 7, and Ty did not want any contact with the Sauber. Ty just knows he needs to manage these hards to the end, and the win may be a possibility. It's Ty now desperately trying to get ahead, but Stephen Beecham picks up a 3-second time penalty out of the final corner as Dub Z comes in, and so does Daddy Chill, which gives Ty Clear free air. Also, this may allow Crimson into a strong position here. Crimson, one of the reserve... Oh, actually in the McLaren this season. Last season we had the McLarens win the championship. Could we see that again? Meanwhile, two drivers who don't seem to be battling for constructors is Infrajack and Dobo. They are too focused on battling each other here. As Dub Z now going to exit just behind Scones. And down into turn 1, Scones stays ahead here. As Dobo on the rear of his teammate of Infrajack. Crimson slowly catching Stephen Beecham. Stephen Beecham also that 3-second time penalty may cost him massively in this one. Ty Clear, remember, may be going to the end as well, so these two need to try and pull a big gap to Ty. As TJ gets ahead of Dobo, despite Dobo having DRS, TJ able to find a way through. And can DJ get ahead of Infrajack now as well? Also got the Sauber
Hello
on
there.
the rear. Sci-Fi Mega Hype almost goes into the rear. Thank you for the follow, Andre, as well. As TJ now on the rear of Infrajack. As side by side they go down into turn 1. Oh, and TJ unable to make that work. As Dub Z on the rear now of Scones. As Daddy Chill gets down the inside of Sci-Fi Mega Hype. After almost coming into the rear of the Sauber. Meanwhile, Zampa and Lime have had a bit of a lonely race. As they unfortunately had contact very early on in this one. And Lime, who started from P2 all the way down at the back. A reminder, everyone currently in the lobby will score points because everyone inside the top 16 does score points. But heartbreak for Lime here. One last time out now and just is having a very lonely race. No safety cars have come out to save him in this one. And surprisingly, no safety cars in the last race in Australia. Stephen Beecham now comes in for his final pit stop. Stephen in for mediums. Where does he exit is the key question. As Ty Clear now sets the fastest lap on the hard tyres. And Ty looking to catch Crimson now. As TJ now in the rear of Infrajack. Can TJ find a way through on the Red Bull drivers? The Mercedes now down into turn 1. Can he get ahead? And TJ down into P3. Meanwhile, we have Dub Z on the inside of Scones, and Dub in the McLaren sends it on the Aston Martin driver, and Dub up into P9. And Dub now on that usual driver of the day challenge drive that he's on, as Dub continues to follow his teammate of Infrajack. And Infrajack seems to be desperate to not get replaced here. He does not want to lose his seat, and he's saying, I'm better than my teammate, so I'm never going to lose this position. Which is costing the Red Bulls a heap of time. Meanwhile, we've got Ty Clear on the rear of Crimson. I also wonder, is TJ trying to go to the end as well here? Just 3 laps older tyres than Ty Clear, as Dobo gets ahead of Infrajack. Still they battle side by side. Do the Red Bulls as Infrajack on the inside of Dobo. But Dobo gets around the outside. Crimson comes in for his final pit stop. As Infrajack going to come in along with Lanky. And Ty Clear now into the lead of the race along with TJ. Can they manage those hards to the end? We will certainly see. We've also got Dobo up into P3. Stephen Beecham now gets ahead of D. Summers down into turn 1. And Stephen Beecham trying to win this race as Crimson exits the box ahead of Dub Z now. And can Dub hold on to the DRS of his teammate and try and get a good result here? As Daddy Chill now on the rear of Scones. Down into turn 4 has a look on the inside of the Aston Martin. Side by side they go. And Scones on the inside of the Sauber, side by side. Bit of wheel banging between the Aston and the Sauber. And Scones loses a position now to the Sauber. As we do have a bit of a train here, can the McLarens work together now? Will we see the McLarens play better than the Red Bulls did between Infrajack and Dobo? As McLarens were Tier 2 champions last season, need I remind you, as Stephen Beecham sets the fastest lap now. And he's just 4 seconds behind TJ as Ty Clear's picked up a 3-second time penalty. And that was an unforced error by Ty Clear. All by himself now as Dub trying to pull a gap to Daddy Chill behind, and the McLarens having a very strong race here. Can the McLarens even have a chance at the podium here? As Dub having one of his strongest races in WHF. As Lanky now on the rear of Infrajack as Dobo's exit on the hards. Why is he boxed so late for the hards? I'm not quite sure. Lanky or as Lime getting ahead of Zampa now in for the mediums. And unfortunately for many of the drivers out there, no safety car has saved them in this race. A couple of drivers with a lap 1 incidents that unfortunately has cost them massively here. And are just not been able to get back into the groove of things. As Dubsy still holding on to DRS from Crimson, which has allowed them to build a gap from the Sauber behind. And the McLarens could check out now and head after the Ferrari of Stephen Beecham. And if they can both get inside DRS range, it could be a double podium potentially on the cards for the McLarens, but has Dub got the pace to stay with his teammate as Infrajack gets ahead of Cree after possibly a mistake there from Cree. As Lanky on the rear of Cree now. As Cree just about has DRS off the car ahead, but can Lanky get a better exit out of the final corner and deploy the DRS and the battery down the main straight to try and get ahead now of the V-Carbon. Lanky now looking on the inside of the V-Carbon down into turn 1. He's going to brake later than the V-Carbon. A lovely move there from Lanky in the Mercedes as Cree picks up a 3-second time penalty, trying to find a switch back on the Mercedes. Meanwhile, Stephen Beecham continues to catch TJ. We've also got Dubsy struggling to hold on to the rear of his teammate of Crimson. And Crimson now may have dropped Dubsy out of DRS. Unfortunately for Dubsy, that's kind of what he needed to try and stay inside DRS range, and he may now drop back a bit from his teammate. Meanwhile, Scones trying to hold on to the rear of the Sauber of Daddy Chill. And Scones still on for a decent result here if he can hold on to the hards for a couple more laps. As Dobo gets ahead of Cree in the background, we see Dobo and Cree go side by side there. But if Scones can hold on to these tyres for a couple more laps, they will start to outperform the mediums before the end here. Scones still has that rear flap open on the Aston Martin, so Scones still on for a decent result here. Meanwhile, we could have a Ferrari 1-2 on the horizon. TJ seems to be staying out until the end, but does Stephen have superior pace to the Mercedes? We will see as Lanky gets ahead of Infrajack down into turn 1. And I must say, here in the comms booth, I've missed more overtakes than I've seen this race. There is so many overtakes that I've missed, unfortunately. Apologies, lads. It has not been a good camera work showing for myself. We've not even seen so many overtakes, but there has been so many in this session. As Stephen Beecham now on the rear of TJ. And what Stephen needs to do is get ahead of TJ and immediately pull a gap to the Mercedes as quickly as possible to try and escape that penalty margin that Stephen has. Otherwise, TJ may find himself in P2 by the end of this one. Also, can Crimson start to catch this battle as well? We'll see as Stephen Beecham now with DRS down the main straight and TJ already flashing. May have no defence from the Ferrari of Stephen Beecham as Sci-Fi Mega Hype picks up a 3-second time penalty. But can Stephen now pull a gap to TJ? This will be crucial whether or not Stephen Beecham can keep P2 and also try and catch his teammate of Ty Clear. But do those mediums have the strength? We will certainly see. But TJ now going to try and stay with Stephen Beecham, and if he does, P2 could be on the cards for the Mercedes if he can keep DRS to the Ferrari of Stephen Beecham as Infrajack gets ahead of Lanky down into turn 1. And here is me again missing another overtake. But hey ho. Anyway, Scones on the rear of Daddy Chill. And Scones, his hard tyres may start to outperform the mediums pretty soon. The mediums only have about a good 9 laps in them before they start to fall off as there's been a yellow flag. And that's for TJ. TJ's lost out and has spun, which is invited through Stephen Beecham. And Crimson now, Crimson up into the podium as TJ making another mistake. Does he have a puncture? No, just seemed to let through Dub Z now. And Dub Z up in a P4 as TJ trying to recover now on these hard tyres. He seems to have overheated them. And TJ now down to P5. And it would have been a great podium for the reserve. Now Crimson looking for his potential first podium here in WHF as TJ gets back ahead of Dub Z now down into P4. As Daddy Chill and Scones have joined this battle all for P4. As Creepy into the box now for Sauce, I assume. As Lanky looks on the inside of Infrajack. Battling over P8 now is the Mercedes and the Red Bull. As Kevin Cal says he thinks it's high tyre wear catching out TJ, and I think that is right. I think his tyres just overheated and he spun out of turn 8. Meanwhile, we do have a lot of battles here, but unfortunately for the likes of Zampa and Lime, who had terrific races last time out, this just has not been the weekend for them here in Spain. And no safety car to save them in this one, unfortunately. As Dub Z on the rear now of TJ. Does Dub Z have the pace in the McLaren to get P4 off the Mercedes? We will see. But currently we've got a comfortable Ferrari 1-2. Ty Clear with a strong lead in front ahead of Stephen Beecham. And it could be our first Ferrari 1-2 since Japan of Tier 1 last season. Meanwhile, Lanky on the inside of Infrajack. Side by side they go down into turn 1. A bit of a wheel bang through turn 1 as Lanky washes out wide. Battling with Infrajack. And Infrajack ferociously defending here as Dobo now in the rear of Lanky. Can the Red Bull of Dobo find a way through on the Mercedes? As he backs out. Doesn't want to go for any risky moves as D Summers now on the rear of Dobo. And D Summers on for a decent recovery drive here despite his lap 1 disconnect. As Lanky on the rear of Infrajack. Dobo also following this battle along. We've also got D Summers involved as well. A lot of drivers battling for this P8 now. Also got a lot of drivers battling for P4. As Dobo goes a little deep, may open the door to D Summers. D Summers looking on the inside. As Kevin Kell says Ty really needs to be careful. Watching the taking care of the old hards as Daddy Chill now on the inside of Dub Z. Side by side they go almost 3 wide down into turn 1. And Daddy Chill loses out to Dub Z as TJ somehow holds on to P4. Dub Z almost got round the outside of TJ there. As the Cyber going to try to get back through again, but Scones now on the inside of the Cyber, but unable to get back through again. Meanwhile, D Summers on the inside of Dobo. Side by side they head through turn 3 and down into turn 4. Will we see D Summers on the inside of the Red Bull? Side by side they go. Little bit of a wheel bang, but the Williams of D Summers gets on through now. As Dobo trying to round the outside of D Summers there. Tried to find some grip, but couldn't find it round the outside of the Williams there. Meanwhile, we still have the battle for P4 raging on. And Dub still heading after TJ now. Daddy Chill on the rear as well. But he washes out wide. May have lost some time as Scones still trying to hold on to this battle. A reminder, Scones' hards should start to outperform the drivers ahead. But can he get ahead of the Sauber is the question. The Sauber seems to be holding him up for quite some time in this race. As Dobo getting ahead of D. Summers now comfortably. As Lanky gets ahead of Infrajack with a late move from the Red Bull. But side by side they go. And Infrajack off the road. And Lanky gets ahead of Infrajack, who is trying to defend with all his might there. As D. Summers now back on the rear of Dobo. And Dobo just lets him through. That is strange. Interesting. But Dubo just lets through D. Summers up into P10.
Hello there.
Thank you for the follow. Yuri is always lit. Welcome into the stream. We're here on lap 30. Here in Tier 2, Round 2. Ty clear in the lead ahead of Stephen Beecham. Next it's Crimson. And Infrajack with another time penalty, which will surely ensure that he finishes down behind
Hello there.
Lanky, D. Summers and Dubo. Thank you for the follow. Necrarius Boat, love the names, I must say, in the chat. As we head on to lap 31, Dubsy still following the Mercedes along with TJ. Still trying to get ahead of TJ after TJ made a big error. TJ almost had P2 in the bag. As Scones gets ahead of Daddy Chill, side by side they go. And Dubsy looking on the inside of the Mercedes, but Scones now in the Aston Martin on the inside, side by side they go. The Sauber and the Aston Martin. Can Scones get round on a lovely move from the Aston Martin? Scones had to give it his all. And Dubsy's around! No! Dub around! Here on the third final lap. And Dub in the McLaren, who was battling for P4, which would have been one of his best results in WHF, spins and is now down to P7. Heartbreak for Dub. Meanwhile, we've got Zampa on the inside of Sci-Fi Mega Hype. And Zampa getting through on the V-carb now. But not the race that our pole sitter from last week would have wanted, but still a decent race nonetheless. Still scoring some decent points here. Meanwhile, Scones is in P5, and despite his mistake earlier on the race, could have P4. And we'll, as we head on to the penultimate lap now, can Scones get the run on TJ? He has 2 lap fresher hards than TJ to try and get this move. With 2 laps to go in this race, can Scones catch to the rear of the Mercedes? We will certainly see. As Scones closing to the rear of TJ. Can he find any way through? On the Mercedes now. Kevin Cal says 12 lap wall meds, bad grip. And that is what really caused Dubsy's spin there. Also, you don't really want to use the curb at turn 3 too often. You're liable to spin. There isn't a whole lot of grip on that curb. It is a risky curb to use, as it can be known to spit you out. But as we head now onto the final lap, Ty Clear started the final lap here. 10 seconds in the lead as Ty ahead of his teammate of Stephen Beecham. We could be on for a Ferrari 1-2 by the end of this lap, as Scones still trying to head after the Mercedes. And the Mercedes is around! And Scones is around! I don't believe it! I don't believe it! Scones is around! After TJ didn't ghost, Scones did all he could to try and avoid the Mercedes, but the Mercedes would not ghost on the final lap here. I don't believe it. Oh, absolute heartbreak for Scones, and Scones into the pit lane. Oh my lord, I don't believe it. I do not Adam and Eve it. As TJ spins on the final lap and Scones could not do nothing to avoid him. Absolute heartbreak. But we're going to move up to the front of the field away from yet another heartbreak in here in Tier 2. And we'll move on to Ty Clear, who has been one of the most unlucky drivers in WHF in the past. And Ty Clear, who's yet to have a podium here in all of WHF, will ride the final corner. And Ty, for the first time in WHF, will win in Spain. Absolutely unbelievable scenes for Ty. Picks up his first win for Ferrari. Next, it's followed by Stephen Beecham with back-to-back P2s for the first Ferrari 1-2 here. Next, it's Crimson with a debut podium in the McLaren. What a race there for Crimson. Next, it's the reserve of Daddy Chill, aka Gunner, who will pick up his best P4. Or we may drop back to TJ, who spun in the final lap and unfortunately collected scones. TJ does pick up P4. Dub Z up to P5 following his spin. Lanky up to P7 ahead of D Summers. Next it's Dobo, then Infrajack. Lime will finish P12, but may jump Factory as Infrajack crosses the line in P10. As Factory up to P11, but Lime up to P10. A decent recovery drive there for Lime, despite all he had to deal with, as Sci-Fi Meg Hype and Creakery cross the line side by side and wheel bang, and hits the V-Carbs. But unfortunately for Scones, had P4 potentially on the cards, and it'll be P16 for Scones. Could have potentially won the race at a point, and instead he'll only pick up a point. Absolute heartbreak for Scones here in Tier 2. I couldn't be more heartbreaking for Scones in this one. Absolute heartbreak. As we're going to head into the driver interviews, but we're going to give Ty Clear his moment. Ty with his first win in WHF. Absolute scenes for Ty Clear. Ahead of his Ferrari teammate, who also finished in P2 for the second time in a row. Stephen Beecham, I believe, will take the championship lead here in Tier 2. But there you have it, your race winners, Ty Clear. Fastest lap goes to Stephen Beecham. Driver of the day is Dub Z. Loves that trophy. Most overtakes is Daddy Chill. And no one wins the cleanest driver of the day trophy here in Tier 2, as it has not been a clean weekend. But Stephen Beecham picks up a bonus points for the pole and fastest lap, which will surely make sure that Stephen Beecham is your championship leader here, ahead of Ty Clear. But Ty Clear, all the props to Ty, picking up his first win here in WHF. As we'll try and get the drivers to join the driver interviews channel. And hopefully this channel has all of the right permissions. It does. Had to double check. And Dubsy says 11th to 5th, I will take it. And a terrific race there from Dub, despite his spin, still able to get P5. A very good result there for Dubsy. As hopefully we'll try and get some drivers in to join the driver interviews channel. We're yet to get anyone to join. Hopefully people are able to. We've got Scones in.
I am pissed.
Yeah, we're going to start the interviews with Scones. Unfortunately, it seemed like P4 may have been on the cards in the final lap, and then TJ spun at the penultimate corner and you had no way to avoid him. An absolute heartbreaking fashion. But Scones, how'd that race go for you?
I mean, it definitely shows that I got the pace, but I wasn't used to the one tire contact with the pit wall, so that kind of dropped me off from when I was in second, then the fall off down to 13th, then the fight back up to like P6-ish, and then watched Dub Z spin, and then the Mercedes spun. And you would think it would have ghosted considering it was covering about 80% of the track and it was 90 degrees, but no.
Yeah, a similar thing happened to me in Hungary last season, where Craig spun in front of me, and he was spinning for so long that you thought surely at some point he's going to ghost. But unfortunately, he just wouldn't ghost. And whenever I seen the Mercedes spinning, I just had a feeling like I could see him not ghosting, because normally they ghost pretty quickly, but I could see that he was just not ghosting for whatever reason. And in heartbreaking fashion, unfortunately, like me, he just had nowhere to go. But still, I think you can take some good things from this race. Mega pace, mega qualifying. Unfortunately, not much you could do about that ending.
No, unfortunately not. I didn't even get much practice in, and my qualifying time was 8/10 quicker than my best time trial. So, yeah, maybe podium on the next one. I don't know. I need a bit of luck for that, I think.
Yeah. But we will wish the best for you, Scones, and I am praying for a podium that you finally deserve, because it seemed like a podium could have been on the cards there today, but unfortunately it was just not to be.
No.
We'll move on to Crimson, who gets his debut podium here. Crimson, how was that race for you? Crimson, you there? Well, Crimson doesn't seem to be there. We'll move on to Stephen Beecham. Stephen, how'd that race go for you?
Hey, race went good. I'm happy that Ty Clear got that first place. Ferrari did a good job today. I think the one stop is definitely a lot stronger. I started on the softs, and that was probably my mistake for P1. But everything went well. I think it was nice to get pole finally, and qualifying went well. The race went well. So all around, good race.
And with back-to-back P2s, plus the fastest lap, plus pole, I'm pretty sure you're now the leader of the Drivers' Championship. Could you see yourself winning the Drivers' Championship?
It's definitely possible. I mean, as you see, even in qualifying, the times are so close. It's really, I'm just really going to have to take it one race at a time. But, if that's what's in the cards for me, that's what's there. That's what I'm going for. So I guess we'll have to see.
Well, all I can say, me as a Ferrari fan, absolute cinema. Love to see the Ferrari 1-2, and I hope for more to come.
Oh, yeah.
I think Crimson now finally is here. So, Crimson, how'd that race go for you?
It was a interesting lap one. Ended up going from P7 all the way up to P3, going around people with that lap one carnage. Ended up deciding to go to a two stop pretty early on because the tire wear was atrocious. And so, anytime, like I almost catch Steven when he'd catch traffic, and then he'd get right back away, and it'd break my heart every time because I knew I was getting close. But it was a nice race for debut season. So I'll take it.
Yeah, debut on podium, and I think that's podium on debut, and I think that's I think anyone would be happy with that result.
Yep, and big props to Dub for real. He helped out. I tried giving him DRS for a couple laps to get him away from that Sauber, but he ended up falling back into him anyways.
And unfortunately, we're going to have to take a quick intermission because Zampa is playing a Coffin Dance on stream, which is so fucking loud.
It's like Zampa then.
Yeah, thank you for that, Zampa. That was so loud. Really needed to hear that. Anyway, we'll move on to who else is in here. Gunnar, how'd that race go for you? You had a very good race in the Cyber.
It wasn't too bad. I spun out first lap, which is a bit annoying. But apart from that, I picked up stupid penalties. If not, I would have got P4. But P6, I'll take it still after Australia last week, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, and with that result, where did you finish last week again?
I crashed on lap 4 from Dirty Air.
Oh, so yeah. That is a bad corner on this game. On previous games, it has not been that bad, but on this game, the Dirty Air there is absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
But at least you finished your first race on some good points as well. After your first finish. So we're looking forward to seeing you again next week as we head to Belgium. We'll now move on to telemetry, aka I keep forgetting telemetry. TJ, how'd that race go for you? TJ / telemetry. You there?
You did.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you now.
Okay. First lap, I think I started P6, I want to say. It wasn't bad. I got up the field. But then I knew I wanted to do the one stop as well. but then the medium started falling off. I think I spun on the first stint. So I pitted, I think, 2 laps after. I decided I wanted to follow one of the Ferraris through and just stay in the DRS to just hopefully capture a P3. But P4, and obviously I spun, I think, 2 laps before the end. Yeah, the tires were just, the rears, they were gone.
Yeah, but still a decent result despite the late carnage there. And it's probably a better race than you had last week, because in Australia we did see you had a big spin at turn 6 into the wall. So it is a much better recovery this time out.
Aiming for the podium next race.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And hopefully we can see on it as we'll move on to D Somers. Now D Somers, yet again, essentially has to get in a fist fight with someone in AA at this point, because as we started the race, yet again he just immediately gets kicked out for whatever reason, even though his internet's fine. It just EA don't like him. But D Somers, how did your race go after having to do an immediate recovery drive that was really just out of your control?
Well, at least this time I was able to actually set my strategy and fuel. So, unlike last week where it kicked me out while I was doing my strategy, it was as soon as I let go of the clutch when the lights went, I was kicked. So I had my strategy, I had my fuel. It was just a case of get on with it, do what I need to do. And yeah, I managed to get back to where I qualified, from dropping to basically the back, because I had Lime and Zampa half a minute behind me at that point. So dropped down to what? Not bad.
I dropped down to 14th and came back for a P8. I was just saying to Zampa, we were in a chat this week, and I explained to him I'm going for the 2-stop and see where we go, because I don't trust the tyres this game, especially being on pad. And it just happened to work out. I ended up where I ended up. Had a bit of an issue with, I believe it was Infrajack on the start-finish straight. I went to go right, he cut across in front of me, so I went to go left and he moved back left. Made slight contact, and then he ended up backing off from the move. But yeah, in the end, I'm happy enough with P8. At least I didn't go backwards, is the best way I can put it.
Yeah, and it was a good recovery drive, because we've seen a lot of people in that race were essentially praying for a safety car, because basically after lap 1 they were so far behind and there was really not much they could do to try and catch, because they were that far behind. And you're one of the drivers who unfortunately lagged out lap 1, but you were able to get back up to P8, so a decent recovery drive there. And I think what we all need to do is if you put in like a message into the EA forums that you keep getting kicked, hopefully we can try and work out why this is happening, because it is strange why it keeps happening.
Already done.
Yeah, right. I'll put a ping out to everyone to try and get sorted, because it's so strange, because we had like 4 drivers lag out there at the start.
Yeah.
Because it was you.
I didn't lag out.
You just rage quit.
I didn't lag out. No, I'll tell you in a minute, but I just left and then just restarted my Xbox.
Yeah.
His mum pulled the cable out of his Xbox.
No, never mind, mother. Thank you very much.
But we will move on to Lime. Lime, we did see you start from P2 there. But what happened at the start there, and then how did the rest of your race go as well?
Right. So what happened at the start was I had experienced some technical difficulties on coming out of my final run on qualifying. My wheel was about 5 degrees to the left, so it wasn't central, and I drove a whole lap like that. Didn't improve, unfortunately. And then coming onto the start, it was still stuck at 5 degrees. But when I went to turn, it was like, no, I'm not turning. So every single time I tried to unplug it, plug it back in, try and turn, it wouldn't turn. So whenever I had to turn, I had to turn a whole 180 just to turn what I would, 5 degrees to the right.
and then I had to turn off my Xbox, reboot the whole system, and that's why I left. And I had to come back from last, which I think was 16th, 17th, and I came back to P10, which is still pretty good points comparison from where I was. So I'll take it. And obviously the season's quite long, so there's still a lot to play for. But unfortunately, technical difficulties stopped me from getting a podium or winning again.
Yeah.
So
that is unfortunate that you did have the wheel issue. We were wondering what happened at the start because it was so surprising, really, and then.
I've been told that there's a patch coming out on Monday for Logitech, which is what I use. So hopefully that will fix it. I haven't had it before, but if that is the issue that I'm facing, then it will be nice for that to be patched.
Well, it did seem like you and Zampa both having issues in lap 1, and it just seemed like after those lap 1 issues, it just the race seemed done at that point. You were all just both hoping for a safety car that never came, so it just really did seem like...
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, you think this time last season, obviously I wasn't here, but this time last season, basically every single race was a safety car, and we haven't had a safety car at all yet. I'm sure there'll be one, but at the moment we haven't had one at all.
I will say I'm very surprised that there hasn't been a safety car, because there's definitely been certain times where there probably should have been, because in Australia I can even think of TJ's crash in Australia should have definitely brought out a safety car, but didn't for whatever reason. But hey ho. Anyway, I think that's been everything from us here at Tier 2 WHF. We'll find someone to raid on our way out. But thank you all for watching if you have enjoyed. This has been Tier 2 WHF, and Ty Clear has won the race here for the first time in his WHF career. Picks up a win. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and we will see you tomorrow for Tier 1 as they head to Japan. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and goodbye.